So hello, today we're going to read Heroes in Training Typhon and the Winds of Destruction by John Hollow and Susan Williams. Chapter 4. Let's see. Into the clouds. Poseidon and Demeter scrambled up the beanstalk after Zeus. Luckily, the thick stalk had lots of bumps and crevices they could hold on to. The long leaf stems were good for climbing too and were about as wide as the crony's arm, but the Olympians had a long, long way to go. They kept climbing. Zeus could feel a chill in the air as they went higher. A little brown bird flew past his face and settled on the stem. Chirp, chirp, Poseidon called up to Zeus. Hey, bird, do you know how much farther we need to climb? He asked it. The bird chirped and flew away. Nice try, Zeus said. Did you really think it would answer you? Poseidon shrugged. We're climbing a giant beanstalk, so a talking bird doesn't seem so crazy anyway. I'm getting pretty tired of climbing. Zeus looked up. I still can't see the top, he said with a sigh. It's nothing but clouds. Maybe there's no top, Poseidon suggested. Maybe it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Demeter hoisted herself up onto the leaf stem. I think I see some blossoms up there, she announced. Maybe we'll find some bean pods. I hope so, Zeus replied. Demeter reached the blossom first, a wild white flower about as wide as she was tall. It's so pretty, she cried, touching it gently. Then her eyes lit up. I see a pod. She carefully walked along the stem, putting one foot in the other, like she was walking a tightrope. She didn't seem nervous at all to be up so high. When she reached a long green pod, she touched it. It automatically opened. 3 shiny green beans, each the size of her head, were nestled inside. Could these be the magic seeds? She asked excitedly. Let me ask Chip, Zeus replied. Sitting against the stalk with one hand, he held out the stone amulet in the other. A bright red X appeared on it. No, Zeus reported, and then Demeter looked disappointed. The green arrow appeared on Chip, pointing up. We've got to keep climbing, Zeus said. I still think we should have just chopped this thing down, Poseidon muttered. Then he stepped ahead of Zeus and pulled himself under the leafy canopy. He vanished into green. Zeus' arms started to feel the strain as he kept climbing. He pulled himself up to another stem right next to the huge white flower bud. Ooh, the bud popped open, and Poseidon jumped out. Startled, Zeus almost lost his footing. He quickly grabbed onto a leaf to steady himself. Poseidon was cracking up. Not funny, Zeus said, still shaking. I could have fallen. Sorry, Poseidon said. This climb is getting kind of boring. I had to do something to liven things up. Zeus climbed onto another stem. His head was surrounded by clouds. He reached the cloud cover, grabbing the next stem overhead, and pulled himself up. Wow, guys, I think this is it. The top of the stalk ended where Zeus could only guess on what kind of island in the sky. He stepped out onto the field of the grass with blades as tall as he was. But what really shocked him was the enormous house that looked in front of him. The building was made of bricks of red clay and a roof of rough wood shingles. The large green door had appeared to be some kind of dragon carved into it. Squishy squids, Poseidon cried out next to Zeus. This is a very big house, Demeter remarked. And this is the picture of the big house. And this is Demeter and Zeus, and the first one is here. Poseidon. Wait, okay, almost done. It is, agreed Zeus, and whoever lives in must be big, really big. Do you think it's a typhon? Zeus asked nervously. Maybe, Zeus replied. But this house is so bigger than any Titan's house we've ever seen. The Demeter looked around. I don't see any seeds lying around out here. Let's go into the house, Zeus. There's nothing else up here, so the seeds must be inside it. How are we supposed to open that door? Poseidon asked. I don't think we'll need to, Zeus said. Come on. They walked through the tall grass until they reached a massive front door. The crack under the door looked almost large enough for them to crawl through. Poseidon got on his knees. I don't see any huge feet in there. Can you slide under? Asked Zeus. Poseidon cautiously scooted forward. The top of his head bumped under the bottom of the door. Ow! He yelled. He slid back, rubbing his head. I'll fix things, Zeus said confidently. He whipped out the sizzling thunderbolt, large bolt. Once the bolt expanded, Zeus used it to shave off some wood at the bottom of the door. Whack, whack! Try again, he suggested to Poseidon. Poseidon pointed toward the crack of his trident. After you. Zeus ducked under his door, keeping his bolt extended just in case. He emerged into a huge white room filled with a giant table and stairs. Each looked big enough to hold the two titans. Across the room was a massive bed at least. That's what he thought it was. He couldn't tell for sure the way down on the floor. He didn't hear or see anyone who might live here, though. The coast is clear, he called to his friends. Poseidon and Demeter joined him. What's now? Poseidon asked, looking around. Sailors checked for directions, but the stone was blank and silent. I guess we should look around, he replied. There's no red X on my amulet, so maybe that means the seeds are here somewhere. It's going to take forever to search this place, Poseidon grumbled, and we don't even know what we're... Ah! Zeus spun around and saw a huge furry ball rolling toward Poseidon, who started poking at it with his trident. I think that's just a dust bunny, Demeter piped up. Poseidon paused. Oh, but he kept poking it. Maybe it's an evil dust bunny. Zeus scanned the room. More dust bunnies dotted the floor, along with the boulders that he realized were probably breadcrumbs, but no seeds. I think we are going to have to climb up high to get a better look, he announced. He nodded one of the legs of the bed, a tall wooden post that was as big around as the leg of the Titan. Let's try that. They dodged more dust bunnies as they made their way toward the post. Carvings in the post allowed them to grab hold as they climbed. A few minutes later, they tumbled out into what looked and felt like a big soft field. It's a bed, Poseidon realized. With a cute bedspread, Demeter remarked. See, it's got pictures of little mice on it. Maybe whoever lives here is a big, scary monster after all. Suddenly, Trip began to talk. Anger dip, anger dip. By now, Zeus knew what the amulets in English well. Trip spoke Trip Latin, which was kind of like a pig Latin, only you moved the first letter of each word to the end of the word and added it. Trip says there's danger, Zeus translated. Creak, that sound door opening. Door that they crawled under only minutes before made Zeus jump. Quick, hide, he whispered. We'll read chapter 5, Typhon, next time, okay? Bye!